Hey, what's up, you guys? iZaBeCameron here. I'm finally back after a long hiatus or brief hiatus, depending on if you want to be optimistic or pessimistic. I'm going to be straight up honest with you. I was kind of in a dump. I wasn't really feeling making any videos. I had stuff to talk about. I really did, but I just couldn't break through that wall to post a video. And I was recently watching the H3 podcast, and they kind of talked about the same thing. And they're like, you know what? Eventually, you just have to upload a video and just get over it. But all that being said, I also want to address these videos in particular. I've finally figured out what I want to do with these, and I really just want to ramble to a camera, kind of like a journal entry, except I hate typing and I don't like writing as much. So these are going to essentially be my journal entries. I'll still happily answer questions if anyone asks any questions, but no one was really asking anything, so I just decided to ramble about my own life for me to look back on in the future, and if this platform stays up long enough to show my kids or something, or my nieces and nephews, and I don't know, just show family in general. So all that being said, I also want to start this video with saying thank you to my friends Jared and Matt, who helped me through my kind of down in the dump phase, whether they know it or not. I really didn't feel like doing anything ever, but they were always on PlayStation and wanted me to play with them, and so it allowed me to talk and kind of have fun and not really let the seasonal depression that I think that I was going through kind of consume me and make me feel miserable all the time. So I really want to thank them, and also my dad and brother, because I played PlayStation with them as well. But with Jared and Matt, it was literally an everyday thing because they work thirds, so our time schedules were pretty lined up, so we could play PlayStation when I got home from work. And it really helped. It really helped most days when I just felt miserable, and I knew I could look forward to that. So thank you to you two. I appreciate that. Moving on to some subject matters. So first of all, since the last time I made a video, I've gone through graduation ceremony, which made me cry miserably. It was very sad to watch my students go, but at the same time, I was very happy for them to be moving on. I have some students that are going to go to, Kyoto, go to the bigger cities and get out of this small town, which is really cool. But I also have plenty of students staying here in the small town, which I'm excited for that as well. I also got to meet Amanda, my predecessor at graduation. She came back to watch the students graduate, which was really cool, and I was really happy to finally meet her in person. So Amanda, if you're watching, it was nice to finally meet you. Along the notes of graduation, it was very different. It's hard to explain unless you see it, but graduation is like, it's very serious here, and I don't know. It was a very interesting experience. On the opposite side of that, they also do entrance ceremony. So we had our graduation ceremony, and then when school was out for 2 weeks, at the end of the school year, when we started the new school year, we did an entrance ceremony. So at the middle school, all the incoming 7th grade students, it was essentially graduation but reversed. Instead of them being graduating students, they were all incoming students, and they sat there, and the principal gave a speech, and it literally felt exactly like graduation, but it was not a graduation. It was an invitation, I guess. It was like an acceptance. It's very difficult to explain, but it was really cool, and I didn't cry at that. I was just happy at that because I got to see my 6th grade students from all of my elementary schools and my middle school. They're all together now, and it was a really cool experience to have that. Along with that, though, I'm not sure if I've said in a different video, teachers change at the end of a school year. So at a lot of my elementary schools, I'm working with completely new teachers, which was really trippy to start out. This week was the first week of classes and stuff. So it was cool to meet new teachers, but at the same time, all of that chemistry I'd built with the previous teacher in the last school year, I just had to be completely thrown out the door, and I have to start anew with this new person, which, is a good and bad thing at the same time, because we now have to jump those hurdles at the beginning again of like, okay, how do you run the class? Where do I come in? How can we work together as a team and not just be like an awkward tape recorder type deal? So that's been interesting the past couple of days, getting used to that flow again. But as I said, I'm very much looking forward to it, and I'm very excited to work with these new teachers and get to know these new teachers and all that stuff. Along with that, at the end of this month, some friends and I are planning a trip to Osaka to go to Universal Studios, and I'm super excited for that. That's my big thing coming up. It's during what's called Golden Week here in Japan. We're going So Golden Week is essentially a week-long vacation. If you use vacation days to take the couple days of work off, you can get a whole week vacation. We are not doing that. We are taking the weekend before the actual week to go to Osaka because we have Monday off of work. So we're going Friday, then we have the whole weekend plus Monday in Osaka, and we get to come back. Then there's 2 days of work, and then I have the rest of the week off to do whatever, which hopefully my former former foreign exchange student that I had in high school, Kohei, will be coming to visit, hopefully. If not him come here, I will go to Tokyo to see him. So I'm really, really excited for that. Those are my big events that I got coming up that I'm really looking forward to. Along with that, I want to talk about podcasts because I have news with that. So I realized that doing only a podcast about Japan with other jets and stuff, I like the idea of it, and I still want to keep doing it. It's not going to be as frequent as I want it to be because, one, everyone's busy, and it's hard to find a good time for everyone to come do it. But two, it's just people are also across the whole prefecture, so to kind of put that into perspective for people in America, that would be like me being in Indianapolis and a bunch of my friends being in Bloomington, in Fort Wayne, in Richmond, in South Bend, all those places, and me trying to be like, hey, come to Indianapolis for one day so I can record your voice for an hour-long podcast, and then that's it. It's kind of hard. It's kind of a hard thing to to persuade people into, but I'm working on it. But because that is difficult, I want to start a new podcast of just me that's also not solely focused on Japan. I want it to be just anything, whether it be stuff back in America, just world stuff, some funny things online, anything like that. And I think the reason why I want to do that is because I watch podcasts, or listen and watch podcasts, like Insanely Chill by Cody Ko, the H3 podcast with H3 Productions. I watch Philip DeFranco's stuff, which he doesn't necessarily do a podcast, but there are some things that he does where it's just him kind of talking to a camera. I don't know. I watch a lot of these sources that are very much just people talking and just giving their opinions on things and their thoughts on things, and it's just an interesting thing to do, and it's very free. It's very free flow, and I like the idea of that. So I want to give that a shot. So in the next couple of weeks, I'll be recording podcasts for that. It's going to be called the Important Ones Podcast. There's a meaning to it. I'm not going to go into detail about it because I want to keep it a secret for myself and for the people who know about it. I think it's fun. So I've got that on my workbook of things to start to do, and that's kind of just where my mind's been recently, is trying to make new stuff and all that. On the content, or on the topic of making things, as you've probably noticed without all of my videos, I make a lot of mistakes when I speak, and I don't edit them out, I don't cut them out, and the reason why that is because I don't like doing that stuff, for one, and for two, I'm terrible at it. I know what my strengths are, I know what my weaknesses are, and editing on a film is not one of them. Editing in general is not one of them, and I like the idea of it being free-flowing, for you to see the thoughts come to my mind and for me to let them out as they naturally come, because I think that's the best way to express yourself naturally, instead of getting all this edited, chopped up footage. I'm not saying that that's bad that people do that on YouTube, because this is a platform for creators, and the people that are on here are fantastic. I'm not one of those people, and I'm aware of that. As I said, these videos are purely for me and my family to show people. If other people like them, cool, thank you. I'm glad that you watch them and listen to me ramble. But these are not meant to be, these great production videos or anything like that. These are just journal entries, as I said. So I wanted to address those things randomly in here. And to close, going back to the school topic that I have jumped back and forth on, we got new textbooks. And oh my goodness, it's extreme. So as I said in other videos, there's a new curriculum now where English starts in the 3rd grade up to 6th grade now, as opposed to just 5th and 6th. So that being said, we got 4 new textbooks, one for 3rd, one for 4th, 5th, and 6th, etc. And it is such a high up, it's such a jump from the previous books, it's not even funny. 5th grade, I think, probably has it the worst, because they were 4th grade last year. They had no English study. No, if they did, it was all just individual and sporadic. It was never really in a curriculum setting. So they're getting thrown at this 5th grade level book, where that textbook is made to have the 3rd and 4th grade levels before it. So here, 5th grade are kind of just getting a bad deal and being thrown in this very advanced English setting. So it's been hectic to try to figure out ways to cope with this jump in the textbook. And mind you, we're only on the intro stuff, which is just like greetings, things that you like, and like very basic English, which I'm aware is difficult to learn as a foreign language, but that's supposed to be the easier stuff. And if the kids are already struggling with that, I'm afraid to see how the rest of it's going to go. But we're going to try our best, and we're going to try to make it easier for them. But yeah, so that's where my mind's been. My mind's been wandering around on a bunch of things, but I was glad to get all that stuff off my chest and finally make this. I'm going to wrap it up because I'm actually waiting on Veronica to come pick me up. We're going to go buy tickets for that trip that I was just talking about to go to Universal Studios in Osaka. So I just wanted to make this really quick, although it's been like 11 minutes, and just get all that stuff off my mind. So, I mean, thanks for watching. Like I said, I've got a new podcast that I'm going to work on, and I'll, make a video to let you know when that gets started. I hopefully have some new guests for the Japanese podcast coming up, but, no promises. I hope you're not waiting out on that. And all that being said, I just want to say thanks again for everyone who watches these, whether they're your friends or family or just random people. It means a lot to me. I'm not going to say that I'm going to try to post more regularly because I just have a lot on my plate with my workload now. It's a lot busier at school and stuff, and it's hard to muster up the energy to make one of these. But as I said, there are going to be my journals, so maybe I'll post more frequently. Who knows? We'll see what happens. I'm just an idiot rambling in front of a camera with a good microphone. All that being said, thanks again. I appreciate it more than you'll ever know, and I'll see you next time.